Are you struggling with the grind? Waking up each week, Monday morning, living for Friday, not sure you can face another day, not sure you can even imagine continuing to put one foot in front of the other and go into a job or corporate path that you thought was the dream gig only to land there and arrive in a way that feels like not at all where you intended to be and not at all in alignment with what you want to be doing and who you are as a person. And so if that's you, if any of that resonates for you, then hi, my name is Jen. I'm founder and owner of Laughing Lotus Wellness, purpose coach, and expert. And I work with women just like you who are on that career path or had their own business. They've created and invented, had a great dream, got there to arrive and feel completely disconnected and not even sure what the point is. Not sure if this is all that there is, honestly. And so what I do is work with people just like you to clarify how you got where you are, where you want to go, and how we're going to get you on that path. And sometimes that looks like we can keep you right where you are and staying in your same lane. Sometimes we've got to make a minor adjustment and scoot you over a little bit just to get you going in the right direction. And so one of the things we're going to visit today about, as a clinical social worker of over 20 years, one of the things I really know is the importance of celebration. Okay. And so we're going to be talking about harvesting and what harvesting really means in the kind of the gamut of what we're going to be talking about today is just like pulling all together all of the stuff that you've been doing that's successful. And so I talked in a vlog earlier this week about a couple of steps you can take. And if you want to find that, you can go find that on my website anytime. But we talked about a couple of steps and I would recommend going back and listening to that. And today we want to talk about some things I thought were super interesting. So the idea of this. So this is a quote from Rick Hansen, PhD. And he said, by taking a few extra moments to stay with a positive experience, you'll help turn a passing mental state into a lasting neural structure. So before we get into the real, brainy stuff, I just want to talk about that's really what he's getting at is the brain shift that happens if we step into a place of positivity. And if we don't just sort of let it float away, but rather we actually pull it in tight. So I think that's something super interesting that struck me today that I read this statistic and this floored me is according to Forbes, entrepreneurs are 4 times more likely to develop depression. And a couple of the reasons are mindset, but also not slowing down enough to embrace the wins. So even if you aren't an entrepreneur here listening, you're still stay with me here, right? It's just an incredible thing to think about as a journey of how crucial a role it plays to harvest and just really celebrate the wins. And this week, one of the things I identified a win as was wonderful inspirational nudges towards success. And so these are our experiences as we're going that are like little stair steps in the journey that are going to help elevate and fill us up, right? And so we want to be excited about the little stops along the way. So this week when I was doing Insight Timer, I was teaching meditation, and the meditations always correlate with what I'm coaching about. I was joking about giving yourself a high five. And I said, I'm going to start doing that. One of my followers was like, I think I would do a pat on the back. I'm like, awesome. I like my high five. Okay. So what I want to talk about is a story where I was doing some coaching and I was encouraged to sit down and list out the things I've been doing. And I don't know if you've done this lately, but you should do yourself a solid and try this. So I sat down, I started listing out the things I've been doing the last 3 to 6 months. And I am not even kidding that I was so absolutely flabbergasted by what I had been doing. And because we get in a state of flow, and that's really what they're talking about. I think this is entrepreneur, career path, corporate person. It doesn't matter what your jam is. I think that all of us in our work can get in such a state of doing mode that we forget to really reflect. Where are we? Where have I been? Where did I start? Where am I going? We're just in the zone. And that's really what happens a lot to entrepreneurs who are really in this, you're in the thick of it. I was reading, and I think it was Elon Musk that was saying, it's like a treadmill. This experience can feel, if you're not really good at slowing down and taking a breath and really celebrating your goodness, the things that you've been doing. it can feel like a treadmill, because even once you accomplish a thing, there's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Okay. And so we want to think about if that is the way that we're experiencing much of our business life, which I think that it is, many of us, myself included, I know I can get in states like this, like the doing, right. And so pretty soon we're just like in this like single-minded, a flow of doing work, but not really looking at where we started, where we're going, and where we're ending. And so by doing that one small exercise of really taking a hot second to like sit with myself and like, what have you created? What have you been doing? Huge insight. And so it was one of my big wake-up calls about the importance of slowing things way the hell down and taking a breath and giving yourself a high five or a pat on the back, whatever your jam is. Mine's a high five because I'm nerdy that way. And so I want to invite you into that mindset of like, how can I show up and just give myself credit where it's due? And one of the big things is that, and I cannot emphasize this enough, like a big win doesn't happen without a bunch of small ones. And so what happens is if we're only ever waiting to celebrate that really big thing, right, that really big achievement, we're gonna feel like we're not getting to where we want to go. Okay. So, and I'm going to tell you something, the enthusiasm around this subject has been absolutely incredible, which tells me how much we're all needing celebration right now. There's been a lot of stuff going on with COVID. We're not going to bump around in that, but I want to point it out that given everything that's been going on, it's really easy to get in this state of feeling ill-repaired, right? Dis-ease, like feeling so out of sorts because of everything that's been going on for all of us. It's really complicated sometimes to take a step back and reflect the goodness, which is exactly what I think is really resonating for people right now, as I think it's the enthusiasm around this subject has been like really so good because people freaking need hope and goodness. And so we just need a reminder to take our time, slow things down, pull it inward, and pay attention to the wins and the great things you've got going on for yourself. And so I want you to listen to a couple of things because I think it's going to lay some groundwork for the rest of our next series here. 7 secrets of highly happy people. And I thought this was super cool. I read this in a magazine. I think it was Mindful. I think. Sorry, it's not sitting in front of me. They have generosity of spirit, huge, right? So just listen to the list. We'll go back and just circle back to a couple. Self-care is a regular habit. They feel gratitude. Okay, that one's going to be a big one. They savor life and enjoy the small things. 5, they're optimistic. 6, they're resilient. And 7, they're excited about the future. So you can see that if these are 7 secrets of highly happy people, that they're talking about celebration and goodness throughout that. I think that was what was really struck me when I read it. I was going through this magazine and I was like, oh my God, that is all the stuff that I'm kind of talking about on a smaller scale. So if you talk about generosity of spirit, giving, that's really legacy. That's a whole other conversation. Self-care is regular habit. Obviously, this is part of self-care would be celebrating yourself, celebrating the wins, okay? Feeling gratitude, feeling grateful for the things that you have that are around you, but also for your own actions and the things that are beginning to create a groundwork for where you want to go. Huge. Savoring life, enjoying the little things. I think that's that's novelty and all sorts of other stuff that I talk about in other ways. They're optimistic. How do you stay optimistic if the only thing we're doing is on that treadmill, right? Like a hamster, like, oh my God, and it's just another day and another day and another day. It's like if we don't have any pause to really go, hey, you know what I did this week though? I set the tone for this thing. I set out my newsletter early. I accomplished these. Dude, one day last week, I did 8 videos. It was like a marathon. Okay. And so, right. So I have to stop and go, that's awesome. That's great that I got that much stuff done in a day. Okay. And so this is the same thing I want you to be thinking about. Is like, how can I pause and look at where can I tap into optimism? So I want you to harvest optimism by seeing the steps that you're taking. And so it's so important, like I said, just get in there and celebrate all of the wins. All of those moments that you have are super crucial in laying the groundwork for the bigger moments. And that's really the connection that I want you to make is like, I'm going to take all these little itsy bitsy steps moving into a space of a big aha or a big success or a big win in your business or your career path, whichever direction it is for you. And they talk here about being resilient, which I just think is so huge too. As a human being, if you're looking at the wins, you're going to be more resilient. Because again, I have a thread attached to it. Wait, to think about this. I have a thread attached to something that's great and good and optimistic. So that's really when I read this statistic about entrepreneurs being 4 times more likely to be depressed, I was like, that's depressing. Like, that is so terrible. So, but I can understand, as one myself, how it can feel like that hamster wheel. And unless we're really taking a minute to give ourselves those little, like, okay, this is like a juicy nugget of something awesome that I've crafted, created, I'm spending some time in, I can witness it with my eyes, and then taking a moment, right? And that's what Dr. Rick Hansen was talking about, was really harnessing those moments and pausing in them, because when we pause in them, you're actually creating that neural structure for that experience and positivity. And so that's a great way, right? So it's really like, when I sat and did my little notes, right? And I was sitting there with it, I was like, Jesus, like, I've done a lot of stuff lately. I really needed to pause and sit in that for a minute. So I really encourage you to do this. So your homework, if you should choose this challenge, is to sit down, list out, okay, 2 things you've done in the last 2 weeks, 2 things that felt like, even if they're small steps, what did you do? Did you wake up early? Did you get a task done sooner than experienced? Did you get a task done on time and you haven't done that in 3 years? I mean, right? It can be all these little steps. How did I show up with my attitude? Did I have a beautiful attitude about something when I typically would have maybe been stubborn, impatient, whatever, snarky? So you can look at all of these things, right? I really want you to celebrate. And then I really want you to spend a moment in it, having the experience of just feeling good with it, because then you embody it and that becomes part of the neural structure. So what happens is, the more that we do that, the more it's accessible. So I want you to really think about energy begets energy, right? I talked abundantly about energy, and your energy is going to attract more energy. So if I show up and I get so super mindful about celebrating and harvesting my wins and my moments, and I go, this went really good this week. My leadership group went great. The engagement in this thing went great. I wrote 2 chapters this week. That was awesome. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but I pause and I reflect and I sit and I just experience that. Okay, you're building in energy that's going to attract more like energy. So that's really what I want to invite you in to do, is practicing the experience of looking at the wins and then sitting in it. And that's really what Dr. Hansen's getting at. It's like, I want you to sit in it, because when you sit in it, you're actually creating brain structure that tells you that there's something good happening, and that's creating strength. So I'd imagine it's like a muscle. Right? So optimism, all of those things, you guys, are like muscles. And the more that we do it, the stronger they get. And so I really want you to get great at recognizing the steps, the stages, the moments, and not wait for the big wins, because you will be so much more likely to be defeated by what you're doing. And in your path to purpose, my friends, if we think we're going to close our eyes and drive somewhere and get there successfully, right? I mean, I want you to imagine this for a minute, right? Would you get in your car, close your eyes, and hope to get to your destination? Hell to the no. Okay. We use navigation. We've got maps. We've got a buddy. We've got, right, our inner instincts. All of those things are no different than trying to get to the path of purpose where you want to land. I have to have my eyes wide open. I want to use all my faculties. So really what we're doing is we're incorporating this idea of strength into practicing positivity and practicing celebrating the moments and the wins that you're bringing forward in your life. That takes a lot of energy, you guys. So I really just want to say, we are celebrating all of you. This week it was super fun to do it an Insight Timer. And I said, what can we celebrate? And one of my friends, Brian, said, I mowed the lawn this week. I love how I feel when the lawn has been mown. It looks so good. And I was like, he's so right. I vacuumed. Vacuuming is my version of mowing. So it was like, we all pared it all the way down to these really small steps and stages. And rather than it being some gigantic win, I cleaned a lot of my home this last week. Yeah, it was a drag, but I did it. But it feels good to have it done. It's checked off my list. And now it's one less stress I have, right? It can look like something as simple as that, but it's celebrating the little wins increases your optimism. Okay, so it's like learned behavior. So we just want to think like I can increasingly see the good when I practice seeing the good. And then I'm going to pause in it, I'm going to absorb it, and I'm going to move on. But I know that each time I do that, my muscles for positivity and optimism are getting bigger and better. And that's going to support me because as we move on that path of purpose, we're gonna get dinged up. We're going to be doing it and we're going to go, oh my God, is this the right thing? And oh my God, am I doing all the things? And oh my God, did I miss this one? Blah, 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 right? So we're going to have that moment. And so what happens is when we have more wins, that muscle gets stronger, we get more resilient. You can see the language of the 7, right? These 7 highly happy people, these secrets, they all interconnect. They're all going to intersect, which is what I talk a lot about, is layering these things makes you that much more successful. Okay. And so I love this idea that the more that I do these things and the more that I practice that positivity, the more I show up that way, the more of a powerhouse I'm going to be. And when it gets hard, and shit will get hard, okay, you'll have minutes. It's not going to be a seamless process for anybody. Then I go, oh shit, but I got my muscles. It's all good. I can handle this. I know that I can be successful. I can return to that and I get to count on it because I've built up that energy, I've built up that awareness, I've built up that muscle of being positive and holding that inside me so that when I'm going on my trip, when I feel like I bang up, I can rely on that again. I can come back to that beautiful space. So I just really want to encourage these kinds of thoughts in your journey. I wanted to throw out a couple of new ideas to you guys because I thought that would be super fun. And so I just want to leave you guys with that. And again, pick your path. Pick your way you want to celebrate yourself. And so if it's pausing and taking 10 deep breaths while you're just really embodying that sense of success, bang it. If you want to give yourself a high five, I'm doing it. My daughter thinks I'm totally weird. I don't care. If it's a pat on the back, if it's whatever it is, I don't care if it's 2 minutes putting your hands over your heart and you're just really like feeling that sense of success, and embracing and celebrating yourself. Imagine a huge arena full of people that are screaming and yelling and cheering for you, right? That was part of our meditation this week. As uncomfortable as that was, I really wanted them to embrace the idea of being like embodied by all of your people in celebration, right? And it's not about ego and it's not about arrogance. And that's one of the things that I do want to throw out there as a finishing thought. I think many of us get stuck because we think that celebrating ourselves is somehow arrogant or egotistical. We're going to take that off the table. So can I beg you for this time of effort that we're going to make in Harvest, that you think of it differently, that this isn't about like thinking you're the best thing since sliced bread. Okay, we're going to talk that way. Hello. I'm just like, somebody just signed in for Instagram with me. I want you to really imagine that this isn't about arrogance, that this is just about celebrating the steps. And that's why getting good at doing it in little bite-sized pieces feels so much more amenable to all of us. So there's a difference in saying, wow, I rocked out that work week. Wow, I really did that meeting really well. Well, I was super nervous about that presentation and look at how I knocked it out. We can do that. And those are not things that are arrogant or egotistical. So you're going to have to kind of put a different hat on a little bit, because I know what I'm asking is going to bump into some of this for people like, oh, but Jen, isn't that braggy or isn't it arrogant or isn't it? No, because even in my recognizing all my work, here's what I was left with, you guys. Right, this is not the actual paper, obviously. Right, but this is what I was left with. I had this incredible piece of paper in front of me that listed all the tasks I had done. I mean, like, and it was crazy. And so it was really my wake up, like, God damn, I have been super busy. Like, I have done a lot of things. And so that wasn't me being arrogant. That was actually facts, right? This is like a factual piece of paper I had sitting in front of me that was just confirming that I had been doing a ton of shit. And so I'm going to guarantee you, sit down, do this. Pick a couple tasks, pick a couple things, pick an area of your life, list out the things you've been doing. I will guarantee you that you've been doing more than you're giving yourself credit for. I will guarantee you. I had no idea that I was going to have that list when I sat down to do that coaching thing. None. And so just being challenged to do that and sit with myself and sit with the stuff I've been doing was absolutely wide eye-opening for me. And so I want that for each of you, is to sit down, dig in, take a look at this, and find the areas where you're really successful. I have been I just wrapped up a 12-week session with a group of women. So amazing, so amazing. And it was super neat. One of the women that was on the journey was like seriously like in the zone, head down, doing the work, and super cool to get a message from her. She's like, I had this thing happen. Great example. She had an absolute unexpected move thrown on her. She was not going to be able to live where she was going to live anymore. And she was like, oh my God, I had to uproot all these things. I didn't know where I was going to go. I had a short amount of time, all these things. And she had been doing work all summer, self-care, like just personal growth, like so much, and like just incredible, beautiful journey. And so she like lost her place to live, and she was in panic mode for a minute, understandably, as we all would be. And here's what's cool. Everything laid out for her exactly as she needed it. And part of it was keeping that attitude, that muscle that she had built of optimism, and celebrating herself in the little steps along the way that she'd been telling me. She'd be texting me, be like, Jen, today I did this and this and this. And yesterday I did this and this and this. Or she sent me a voice memo. I loved it. It was so good. She had so much energy around this. What unfolded, you guys, was so effing epic. So this all turned into a beautiful piece of alignment for her journey. And what happened is actually she is moving in with someone, and some of that freed up income to do a piece of her job and her career of her purpose she always wanted to do. And so I think what's so funny was in the midst of this really scary, hard, horrible thing happening to her that would have shut many of us down. I mean, honestly, right? I mean, like it was bad. I mean, like when she told me, my heart stopped because I was like, oh my God, like I can only imagine what it was like to be in that place of panic. But because of her optimism and all of that celebrating and that win that she had been doing, building up all summer, she didn't just lose her shit. She was like, I could lose my shit and lose an entire opportunity, or I can keep going. And what happened was it literally all happened so that she would be aligned on her path of purpose. Legitimately. It opened up income, this entire thing she did not plan, right? And could have freaked. Nope. She pulled up the muscles, dug in. You guys, she left me the most beautiful message. I literally wish I could save them because it's voice memos, and you guys know they delete as soon as you listen to them. Her voice memo and enthusiasm and excitement about this, you guys, I have no words. I was literally so freaking excited for her that this meant she could do something she always wanted to do for herself. That is a gigantic win. Bigger than that win was her fucking attitude, because her attitude was like, I'm not going to cave here. That's a muscle. That is, if she would tell you, I swear to God, if I got her in here right now, I wish she was here today. If I got her in here, she would say, I would not have done that 3 months ago. I for sure would have done it a year ago. I'd say 6 months. I'd say 6 months ago, she would definitely say to you. And then she started kind of this journey, and then really dug in the summer, did an awesome job, and literally would tell you guys. I mean, so this is something she practiced and learned and grew the muscle. So celebrating the wins, right? Celebrating that optimism, holding on to the idea that there's a reason for the things that are happening. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be able to stay the course, literally saved her ass. And so I got to see this tumult happen, this place that could have like been the absolute, like, right, knocked out her deck of cards, her house of cards that she had beautifully built, was working super hard, could have been the exact thing that like ninja hand could have just like swiped that shit out. No, instead she dug in. That's what we're talking about. And so had she not been prepping though, had she not been like lifting her optimism weights, her celebrating the wins weights, had she not been doing that, you guys, that could have been the absolute wreckage, a home wreckage of House of Cards. Instead, it was an incredible win for her. And I think the coolest thing is to watch people, their eyes come open. They're like, oh my God, look at how I navigated that, and look at what the result was. Because I didn't just lose my poop. I didn't go out everywhere. I didn't make all the decisions that were going to make my life harder. I didn't go out and like binge drink or do the things or do whatever. Instead, I hunkered down and I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do hard things. I can manage this. And I know because I've practiced. And I also see the success. And when we begin to see the successes, my friend, like this woman, I don't want to say her name because I didn't ask her permission. This woman, she now has a success story. A success story. So what happens is when she starts to get in those places of the tumult and she's like, oh my God, and there's stuff happening, she's got the success to come back to. She can go, oh, that's right though. Remember that time that all that stuff, all hell broke loose and I thought I was going to lose everything and I wasn't sure where I was going to go. And look at how it turned into this greatest gift for me. Okay. This is what we're talking about. So I want you on a different kind of treadmill, practicing, growing this habit, these successes, so that when you have something show up, you've got that access right there. Your brain already grew another network, a structure that it goes, I got this. My habits, my spiritual energy tells me I got this. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. It isn't ego. Okay. Did you hear me? It wasn't ego. She didn't call me. She wasn't like, oh my God, Jen, I'm the coolest person on the planet because I got to do this. No, she was fucking celebrating. And it wasn't about her being amazing. She was like, I'm on my freaking path, Jen. This is what we've been talking about. I'm on my path. I'm like, yes, you are. You got this. Here, right? This is what I tell her to do. Give yourself a high five. Okay. Practice. Give yourself a high five. I'm serious. It looks stupid. I don't care. So I want you to hear a story of not just myself, but how this looked for a client of mine that was like, yes, like I literally had all these things happen. I thought I was going to come undone. Look what happened. So by celebrating her small wins along the way and identifying them, and lots of times outward with me, which was one of the coups, I think, in a group, she was like telling people what she was doing. Okay. So that is really crucial is can I connect along the way? Can I have a partner in crime? Can I have somebody that's going to support this? Can I dole that out in little pieces to store up? And then I harvest the goodness of that at the end of the day. And her harvesting her goodness, my friends, turned into like a huge piece of her path that she needed to have fall into place. How freaking awesome. Okay. So I said I was going to wrap up like 5 minutes ago, but then I got excited to tell you guys the story and I couldn't help myself. So I invite you guys to ask questions. If you got questions, please ask them because that's always super fun. And I always will come back around and answer them. Even if they're not asked during the live session, I will come back. I promise you, and I will answer any questions that you've got. And please, and truly when I say this, please share your wins. This month, I'm going to be working really hard on celebrating you all. An insight timer that was such a blast, and the energy in there by the end of our session that day was so huge, and people felt so good. And like right now, we just really, all of us need this so much. And so tell us how we can celebrate you. What things have you been doing? What have you accomplished? My God, let's put our heads together and let's freaking celebrate it, right? We need it. And you will be building that habit, that muscle of loving yourself and celebrating the wins and taking in the moments. And I swear to you, you will be better and more resilient as you do that. So let us celebrate you as well. So please, please ask any questions. And two, feel free to celebrate your wins with us here in the comments so that we can like build you up and come in and surround you in this like arena of joy and success. Okay. Even if it's a small step. Even if it's a small step, we love that. And that's a great place to start. Okay. If you want more tips and tricks and tools, I really encourage you to head over to my website, which is just laughinglotuswellness.com. It's laughinglotuswellness.com. And in there are all of my vlogs. I have purpose tools. There's a button right there. I've got a freebie right on the very front page. There is all sorts of stuff accessible to you. And so I super invite you to go over and check out all those things, plug in and hang out with us. Danny, I love you. Thanks for being in here today. Oh, that's what I'd say. I wish everybody would say, hey. I need to say hey, because it's so fun to know who's out there. Thanks, Danny. I love you. I miss you. I hope you're well. And so please feel free. Danny, tell us a win. I want to celebrate your win. Tell me a win so that we can celebrate you, even if it's not the second. Tell us a win for the week, the month, I don't care. Let us celebrate and hold space for all of you guys. So please, please feel free. I would love to hear and see you post those wins. And then, like I said, for more information, you're welcome to head over to that website. There is a ton of content. So feel free to go over and take in whatever would be supportive of you on your path to purpose. So my friends, as always, this is Jen signing off for the week and looking forward to seeing you guys next time. We're going to spend some time in all of this celebration and just embodying the goodness for this next little bit here. So I hope you'll kind of hang tight with me. Join me for that. There's always a live vlog on Tuesdays, and then I come in here on Thursdays unless something's weird every once in a while. Completed my Reiki master training. Danny, I'm so proud of you. Oh my God, I saw that. I was like, I am so excited for you. So congratulations. That is such a huge, huge deal. And I know how much effort that takes. Danny and I did training together, and then we had to do like 40 hours of working with people doing Reiki to finish, like complete your training. And so Danny, that is so amazing. I'm super excited for you. And like, just kudos. So again, like, right, Danny, okay, got me? Do you feel me? Okay, so this is what I want you guys to do. That is huge. And like, Danny, that's a huge thing though, Dan, right? Like, so here's what I want you to think about, right? This is such a good example. And then I swear to God, I'll shut up. But Danny's is such a good example. Danny didn't go in, whoa-cha, Reiki master. No, Danny went in, did the training, 3 weekends of his life. Then he had to go in and provide Reiki in 40 separate little sessions. So think about, it's exactly what I'm getting at. So Danny's big completion happened because he did little steps all the way leading up to that. Okay. And you have to do that. You just celebrate the little things. Okay, Danny, session 1, session 1, there's 39 more. I can look at it that way, or I can go, that shit doesn't even matter because 1's under my belt. Bam. And then 5, bam. Right? And then I'm talking to people, hey, I got this question about this thing and I'm not sure. Keep going, right? This is exactly what we're getting at. That is a perfect example, Danny. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because that's exactly where we're going. Is that our successes, our big daddy successes, all start with the little itsy bitsy things along the way. And I want you to get super honed in, laser vision on all the little steps that got you there. So Danny, you are a freaking rock star. Way to go. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. I just know you're incredible anyway, because I know you. So I'm just super biased, but I just know that you're going to make a huge difference in the world using that as an extra skill, that you already are an incredible nurse. But I'm just saying, this is just another extra layer bonus for you that's going to just, I think, expansively share your gifts with the world in a new way. And I get super excited for you. That's you on your path to purpose. And so if you could all give him some loving, please, energetically. So I want to hear what you guys are doing. See, we got to celebrate him. That's what I want to do. I want to celebrate each of you in your goodness and where you're going. Please, please post it so we can all celebrate and have some joy for you around the stuff that you're doing. You're doing hard freaking work, and the small steps count. And so we just want to really embrace that. Okay. Until next time, friends, this is Jen with Laughing Lotus Wellness, supporting you on your path to purpose. See you next time.